Hello, thanks for watching. My name's Hussein Zaidi, Zaidiboy, and I appreciate your time. I want to talk to you about the goal of life, as that were. Of course, the goal of life, apart from the obvious goal, which is to be happy. Of course, apart from the obvious goal of finding meaning in life, right? Apart from the obvious goal of finding your purpose, a la Picasso, Pablo Picasso, Pablito Picasso. I shouldn't call him Pablito, pero I do think of him very fondly, if that makes any sense. Pablo Picasso said, "Man, I call Pablo Escobar Pablito because he is only 42 years old. Rest in peace, or otherwise, as per God, who created him and created him for a reason." Listen, man, hurricanes are not evil. Hurricanes kill more people than cocaine dealers, right? And by the way, drugs are bad, just so that's clear. If there's any kids watching this, I call myself an addict to draw attention to the fact that it's a problem. Like, being an addict is not a good thing. Definition of an addict, I guess the ultimate definition is someone who has destroyed their life over a certain thing. Like, I suppose being addicted to work and being addicted to drugs or being addicted to love, these are all crap things, because if you end up on the street or in jail or dead, or all the things that come out of love or drugs or whatever you're addicted to, like whatever leads to a good life for you and your family, that's what you should be focused on. And whatever takes away from that, this is a problem. I'm going to be writing a book, God willing. I started already. Like, I wrote almost 100 pages of this thing, and it's lost in time and space or whatever. I was writing it for a client, and then he paid me half the money, and then he fucked off. And he loved it to begin with. Like, this book about addiction. It's called, I've got a URL out there somewhere. Anyway, Addiction to Obsession is the name of the book, because the definition of addiction is the same definition that applies to obsession. So an addiction takes over your life. An obsession takes over your life. An addiction, like, takes over your thoughts and consumes you. And so does an obsession. It's just like fear and faith. Fear and faith have the same definition, as they say, as Christians say. Mi esposa es cristiana, como tú sabes. Tal vez. You might know my wife is a Christian. I'm a Muslim, which makes me a Christian, and my wife is also Jewish by virtue of being a Christian, and I'm Jewish by virtue of being a Muslim. All of that stuff. Now, the goal of life, according to Picasso, Pablo, the meaning of life is finding your gift. The purpose of life is giving it away. This is it. There's nothing more that can be said about that. Now, in terms of what I wanted to talk about today, this beautiful experience of life is what I want to talk about. This beautiful experience. Experience is it, frankly. Experience. For example, to make that clear, it's not what you have, it's how much you enjoy it. A. B. The more you have, the less you enjoy it. C. Therefore, it's just like Don Juan said, the warrior, the spiritual warrior, by loving nothing, develops a silent lust for everything. Right? So, if you focus on one thing and turn that into your whole life, it can become an addiction or an obsession, good or bad, and that's a totally different topic, talking point, whatever. But of course it falls under the theme of this channel. addiction and well-being essentially is what I'm all about. Like well-being essentially is what I'm all about. Well-being, like birds are singing in the trees, families are enjoying their goddamn Saturday or whatever. Like there doesn't seem to be any accidents on the Don Valley Trail. So now, when you're reading a good book or watching a good movie, like Gone with the Wind, campy as it is, there are no thoughts. Whether or not there are emotions and or thoughts even, what happens is you're lost in the experience. You're not thinking day-to-day thoughts at least, and you're not experiencing day-to-day emotions at all. What has happened is you're lost in the experience, and the experience is the whole point. The point may and in fact must be as well what you get out of an experience. For indeed, Imam Ali said, peace be upon him, the best experience is that which you learn from, right? Now, again, experience is really, in terms of my own worldview, experience is is it. Experience is it. And the way I like to describe it is like this. Experience is it, meaning it's the goal. The goal is not to have, to be, or to do, perhaps. It may or may not be to have, to be, or to do. But the goal is not to have, to be, or to do. Or it may be to one of these things. Like Erich Fromm said, I said in like the last video, like this is the third attempt at this video today. Like I'm just trying to get some thoughts that have been in my head. I need to get them out. I'm going to write them out here, and we're going to talk about them. Okay, so okay, I think I figured it out. This is pretty good. I think you're going to like this. If you're watching this, I'm hoping you're going to get something out of this, because this is like literally decades of stuff. So we're going to return to this briefly. Thoughts and emotions determine your mood, and your mood determines your personality. Okay? That's really the takeaway here. Thoughts, emotions, mood, personality. Now, if your goal is to be happy, you're still limiting your experience, right? So the goal is peace, of course. And peace transcends happiness, just like it says in the Bible. The peace of God transcends all understanding. Transcending all understanding means that you've gone outside of your thoughts, and you've gone beyond your thoughts and your experience, emotions. Like ultimately, the goal, according to Islam and Christianity and Judaism, might be encompassed by the following Islamic phrase: Abdi, ata'ani, taj'aluka mithli. Oh, my servant, says Allah, obey me. I will make you like, and I will make you like me. That's the whole thing. Like, servitude at its core becomes lordship. The Lord, the master, and the servant. It's not that God becomes the servant, but God, in a sense, is serving you. Do you understand this? Like every breath, every particle of nutrition that's assimilated in your digestive system, all these things, right? So when you begin to appreciate how you're being nurtured by life and by the universe and things like this, and you try and then delve into the purpose for which you're created and achieve self-actualization, you begin to, according to mystics and spiritual teachers and masters, and certainly Islam and Christianity and Judaism and Hinduism and Buddhism. Like you begin to achieve supernatural characteristics in terms of it begins with your premonitions about things and your feelings about things, right? Anyway, and yeah, it basically the absolute ultimate of this is Carlos Castaneda. If you're interested at all, you can visit youtube.com/Zaidiboy, Zaidiboy, or simply Google Zaidiboy. You'll find my YouTube channel there, Zaidiboy. Within that YouTube channel, there's a playlist with maybe half a dozen or so videos. Like most of them have hundreds of views, if not 1,000 or a couple of thousand, this kind of thing. Maybe 1,500 views on a video, which is awesome. Like as a marketer and as a person that is a content creator / artist, you put out a video and you get 100 views like a couple of days later. This is what you're looking for. In my world, that's all I'm looking for. And what those people say and what they want and what comes out of that, like people ask a question, how much money do you make online? Like tens of thousands of dollars. Like, and so have you, by the way. If you're watching this, there's a good chance that you're employed or have been in the past, and therefore there's a more than probable chance that you've sent out a resume online, right? So you've made money online. You found the job online. You posted the resume online. You Googled it, right? And went over there, and now you work there. This is called you made some money online. It's the same thing in terms of what I do as a consultant. Like this content, you watching this, the point is not for me to get you to buy something. If you're a regular person, I don't charge regular people anyway. Like I live to help and add value. Like if I can help someone, I'll go out of my way. I'll have a horrible day if I can make a wonderful day for someone else. And that will be a wonderful day for me, whatever that means to you. Anyway, so now you create content, and as a consultant, how much money I make, like I have made, like Google will pay you on the 24th of the month if you've got Google AdSense. If, like, for example, with these, like I've got blogs, like this whole thing goes back to 2008, my first blog that was successful. I made like hundreds of dollars a month at some point with this thing, like with just the Google AdSense check every month. And then like clients, this is the whole thing. Like how much money do I make online? There's no limit, because any person I talk to could become a client or could lead to a client, and then there's no end to that. But it's not about the money, of course. It's about finding meaning and doing your thing. Your thing. Okay, so going back to your thing and the point of this video, and human being versus human doing versus human having. You're not called human haver or human doing. You're called human being. You're not called human having. Human having is having stuff. Like this is crap. Like, is this mine? I wrote it down, so it's mine. Like the notebook is my wife's. I just tore it out of her notebook, right? And so the paper, is it mine? Is it really? Like, I don't even know who I am or where I came from or who I belong to, if that can be said. Like, it's like the natives say, that the only thing that you really own is the land you're standing on, like this kind of thing. Like, the only thing I really own, like, so this paper, I would say, yes, I own this because it's in my possession right now and I'm utilizing it. And there doesn't seem to be any conflict vis-a-vis someone else coming out of the blue, apart from my wife might be pissed that I tore a piece of paper out of her notepad, whereas she has a whole pile of scrap papers over there for that express purpose of me writing stuff down, or her, or whatever. Guys, when you're watching a movie or playing a video game, or when you're taking a walk with your dog or your wife or your buddy, or you're watching a game, or you're flying a kite, or you're reading a book, there is no I. It comes back to this mysterious thing called the I. I have a bunch of videos I'd created at one point here, like about 6 months ago, 9 months ago. This last year has been the most intense year of my life, and that's it. I mean, that's it. I don't know what to tell you. Like, in and out of the jail system, the shelter system. Like, I've been arrested about a dozen times in the last year. I spent maybe 3 months in jail at least. I've been knocked out for the first time, like 3 or 4 different guys in a series of weeks. Couple of guys in jail. No, one guy in jail, one guy in the shelter, one guy in the street. And I think there's one other guy who, like, this never happened to me before. I'm like Alfonso Capone now, Scarface. Scarfecito. I got like a scar here. I was knocked out in jail, like bang. The guy like knocked out meaning he punched me and I was on the floor. It's never happened before. Like I'll show you what like my thing is. Like in case you think I'm like the guy who's gonna I got this one thing. This is called Tora Yapchagi. Tora means you turn. Yapchagi means a side kick. Right? This thing? Turning side kick. Bang. I've done this like 2 or 3 times, like in fights. It's the only kick of mine that has ever worked. But it works like a charm. Like 3 times in 3 separate fights in 3 different years. Bang, bang, bang. I smack Buddy to the floor. Bang, bang, bang. Like you do a turnaround side kick like this and you hit him right here. Buddy is going to go down. Anyway, so I got punched out a couple of times and the lighting keeps changing, eh? So now, let's just get into this thing, all right? So now, thoughts and emotions, right? So this book, like, I just picked this book up today. I'm so happy. Like, it's such a good book. And, like, you can learn a lot just by, like, with a nonfiction book, you can pretty much open it anywhere. You should be able to open up anywhere, like, read tables, chapter headings, things like this, in order to, like, learn things. And any single thing, any single bullet point can change your life. This is why philosophy or thinking is so important. ساعة تفكر أفضل من 70 ساعة عبادة. 1 hour or one period, like back in the day of Muhammad, we didn't have clocks. But there was the word sa'a. Sa'a nowadays means 1 hour, like 60 minutes. Sa'a back then, I suppose it just means like a period, like a scene. Like right now, me recording this video, this is like a sa'a. Later on in the day will be another sa'a, another period. A period of, it might be an hour, it might be a couple, who knows. But sa'a tafakkar, an hour of thought, afdal, is better, okay, than 70 years of worship, according to Muhammad. So now, the characteristics of bad communication, because among other things, like in terms of feeling good, like big part of that is your relationships with others, and a big part of that is conflict, and a big part of that is how we all suck at conflict, right? And what I mean is, for example, with your wife or your partner, right? I'll read some of these and you'll understand exactly what I mean. I just want to read some of this to you, and maybe if nothing else, if you're watching this, thank you again, and maybe you'll get something out of this that way, right? I'm just desperate to make it worth your while if you've taken the time to watch this, and I'm running out of battery, and so I got to hurry this up. The characteristics of bad communication, there's 15 of them. Number 1, truth. You insist you are right and the other person is wrong. Number 2 is blame. You say that the problem is the other person's fault. Number 3 is martyrdom. You claim that you're an innocent victim. Number 4 is put down. You imply the other person is a loser because he or she always or never does certain things. Hopelessness. You give up and insist there's no point in trying. Anyway, rambling. Guys, the goal is to find your thing. The definition of your thing is that, like, with me, it's these videos right now, right? More or less. I'm telling you what, like, I'll have a happy week or a happy set of weeks or days, but that deep feeling of peace or fulfillment, or yes, I did something useful, I'll either get if I talk to a client, or if I talk to someone new and have a great conversation, these kinds of things, or making this video. Like making this video like is so therapeutic. Like if you have noticed, if you've watched the last couple of videos, if I have uploaded them, like I made a number, like there's one floating out there, it's like 4 minutes long. I don't even know what I was doing. There's a 4 minute long video floating around there somewhere. This whole morning of me trying to talk about thoughts, emotions, and whatnot, and experience. I started off and I'm a mess and I'm like, I can't even, like, my thoughts are everywhere, right? And just through the process of talking my shit out is the way to put it, I suppose. I feel more centered. I feel more organized. I feel more myself, whatever that means. Now, when you're flying a kite, when you're doing your thing, when you're reading a book, when you're watching a movie, when you're playing a video game, when you're doing anything that's immersive, which is what life is meant to be, which in fact is the case. Life is completely immersive, and you should be immersed in it to the extent that you lose yourself. You lose yourself in what you're doing. Okay? There's a strange line in the Quran. Now, not chapter, but Prophet Solomon, peace be upon him, son of David, peace be upon them both. There's a strange line like, Ya Rabbi taj'alni malakan la yanbaghi li ahadin ba'di wa min qabli, something like this. The Quran says that Solomon, peace be upon him, prayed to God saying, "Oh God, give me a kingdom the likes of which nobody prior to me or after me has or will ever have." And so, of course, سَخَّرْنَا لَهُ الرِّيحَ وَالطَّائِرَ وَالطَّيَّارَ. I don't know the Arabic, all of the Arabic. Sometimes I get it right, sometimes it's a close approximation. In this case, I'm just kind of just practicing my Arabic. But we made the winds, and the creatures of the earth subservient to Solomon, peace be upon him. Like there's Al-Namal, it's probably in the chapter called the ant. There's a chapter called the bee. There's a chapter called the ant. In the chapter of the ant in the Quran, Solomon is marching with his armies, and they're marching through the plains or over a plain, and there's ant hills there. And one of the ants runs up to the top of his little ant mound or something and starts warning the other ants. Watch out, Solomon is coming with his armies. They're on their way. Here they come, like this kind of thing. Like, watch out, get inside, or just be careful. And Solomon apparently picked up the ant and was smiling. Dahaka. He laughed, or he was amused at its speech or something like this. So the kind of kingdom that Solomon was given, like chapter 73, I guess, of the Quran, I think it's chapter 73. It might be 63. It might be 62. It's probably 73. It may not be. But there's a chapter called Genie. Because just like Christians and Jewish people, we believe in what Carlos Castaneda, what Don Juan in the books by Carlos Castaneda calls inorganic beings. Inorganic beings are a big deal for a lot of people. Like in the world of spirituality, there's a couple of areas that I'm not interested in. Inorganic beings. Don Juan himself says that many sorcerers or spiritual warriors, or whatever you want to call those kinds of people, brujero, like so-called black magic practitioners, although that has many negative connotations. And the word that Don Juan and his people use is not brujero. Brujero is more derogative. It's a magic man, a voodoo person. But Don Juan, and the teachings of Carlos Castaneda have nothing to do with black magic. Okay, so now, no idea why I brought Don Juan up again. All I'm trying to say is that according to Islam and Christianity and Don Juan, you do have inorganic beings there's a chapter that mentions them in the Quran, and you know, like being a medium and conjuring spirits. Like this is a big deal, and many people are fascinated with this. I'm not. Many people are fascinated with lucid dreaming. Lucid dreaming is a big deal in the world of spirituality. I can tell you from personal experience, if if you don't believe me, there's it's very hard to understand what I'm about to try and explain to you, or to the closest you could get that I would safely advise you to try out if you really want to, and I don't see why not at this point. I'm thinking of it myself, frankly. Fungi.ca, like on Spadina and let's say college and Spadina, like Dundas and Spadina, this kind of area. Here in Toronto, downtown Toronto, there is a magic mushroom place. Uh, if you ingest magic mushrooms, because I would certainly not recommend you take LSD. LSD being a drug. Uh, Drugs are synthetic. They're dangerous. They're addictive, and they are intoxicating. Okay, and that's why weed's not a drug. Weed is not synthetic. Weed is not addictive. Weed is not dangerous, and weed is not intoxicating. Okay, my phone's at 15%. It's actually good news because it was at 45% when I started, so I have at least 10 minutes to wrap this goddamn thing up. I'm gonna try and wrap it up here in like a couple of minutes. I feel so much better, like, and so therefore it's worth making this video for me because I feel better. And so if I feel better and more organized, and all it is I've just been able to release some thoughts, and I still haven't talked about what I really wanted to, so I might as well. Okay, so according to Don Juan, Carlos Castaneda, and these people, you can perform miracles. This is to put it lightly. Like to perform miracles, like anyone can perform a miracle. Heck, you are a goddamn miracle. Everyone's a miracle, and everything is a miracle, right? Like lucid dreaming. What I wanted to say is dreams are thousands of times. Like there's no way to describe it. It's like being able to see and not being able to see. I've woken up from a dream a couple of times, which has, like, it's so immersive that waking up, it's almost like you're drowning, and then suddenly now you can breathe again. That, although, like, the dream wasn't necessarily a nightmare, like what the experience I'm referring to, what I'm trying to impart to you is that if you can get into your inner spiritual world, it's way more immersive, way more enthralling. Like, you can't compare the inner to the outer worlds. Like, this is like turning into pseudo mysticism, and that's kind of what it is, but kind of not what I want. Guys, this book is about cognitive behavioral therapy, okay? This book. Now, I just want to share this last thing with you, then I'm out of here. I don't know if you got anything from this. I appreciate you watching this. I appreciate your comments. Don't feel bad that I don't get views on some of these videos. If you Google like some of my other channels, I got channels that I don't even talk about, like with thousands of views on them, like per video. I got like about 5 YouTube channels out there that I've worked on where I have videos that have anywhere from 200-300, 700-800 views to up to like 4,500 views on one video. And I've interacted with all kinds of people, made all kinds of friends, learned all kinds of things. And these are all the things that you can do online. If you go to blogger.com and start a blog, and you blog consistently on a specific subject for 2 to 5 times a week for 6 months, you'll get it. You'll get it. If you podcast and do the same thing, you'll get it. If you try to make money online, choose one thing, like selling on Amazon. Don't buy any courses or spend a lots of money or nothing. Like if you can't do it for next to free, like for under $100 or about $50, if you spend $50, okay, and then take 6 months. Let's say $100, and you take $6, 6 months. Because let's say Worst case scenario, let's say you want to sell online, and you within 6 months you figure out how to do sales funnels and click funnels or funnels.com, things like this. And then you have click funnels to set up your funnels and your landing pages. Okay, ClickFunnels is $97 a month. So you will get a month or two free, I'm hoping and praying. But like my point is this, you must not and should not and do not have to and must not. Like this is a big fallacy with regards to making money online, that you got to spend thousands of dollars. Like, and it's like the same with Amway. You spend thousands of dollars or you go broke. You can't go fucking broke. I'm swearing, but unless you're a complete idiot, how can you go broke buying, like, the whole point of Amway is you're meant to be selling products, and that's the whole point of the business. And if you buy a whole bunch of products and you're not creating a downline or a sideline, or you have customers or people that, like, you're meant to be creating volume in Amway. I'm rambling a bit, but you can't go broke in Amway. And if you know anyone who's gone broke doing multi-level marketing, they're an idiot, right? If you want to know, and you must know, what they say in Amway is JOB, job, that's called broke. Just over broke. Job, just over broke. Or jackass of the boss. So what's funny is that people with jobs, okay, I got nothing against a job, by the way. I love jobs if you do the thing right. If you don't take shit from people apart from your boss, or understand, for example, that do not be humiliated and demeaned and like this kind of thing at work. Okay, because there's a line between going through something in order to grow stronger and get better, like you go to the army and you do 8 weeks of boot camp and they pound the crap out of you mentally, physically, and whatever, in order for you to become a better person. Okay, and from time to time in your life you might come across a situation where, like, your group of friends or at school or at work or like your church or your mosque or some place where you go and there's people there, and it's like there's bad vibes or some weirdness, and it's like you get into this whole thing, like, because at the end of the day, what is there apart from people, right? Your whole world, your life, your thoughts, your dreams, your goals, all of this is interlinked with others. Anyway, rambling, like rambling, right? So now, lucid dreaming, and then al-jinn, okay, and then yes, okay. So now, cognitive behavioral therapy. All it says is it's basically like this. You've got your thoughts, okay. So the first question is, do thoughts create